If you must, it was 2016's Arrival.
Arrival.
Oh,
You
good.
love Arrival.
Definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. Absolutely. I mean, look, Amy Adams is off the charts.
Off the charts.
And look, it was, on the other hand, on the charts. It was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, winning 1 for, I think, Best Sound. So
Best sound? Oh,
Hey,
okay.
take it easy.
I mean, hey, whatever. Take the win. Take the win.
And I'm sorry to be specific, Best Sound Editing.
Oh.
Which I actually did think, I mean, this is our director of Dune, of Sicario,
Yes.
of many things, Denis Villeneuve, however you say it in French, excuse me.
Denis.
Yeah, maybe. So this is, I mean, the sound in that movie was amazing. I feel like it's slightly challenging. They're using this music that is repetitive and fantastic. They also do a lot of atmospheric things that you're like, oh, I think that's what, is maybe what the sound of those aliens are. And as I thought, very, very good. I liked it a lot.
A lot.
So maybe sound editing was a good award.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just rewatched Dune in preparation of seeing Dune 2. And then I was doing a little deep dive on Denis. And I don't know if I totally had known that he was also the director of Arrival. And I was like, oh, yeah, Arrival's so good.
So good.
And, you just kind of go like, I could do a whole watch down of his stuff. But the sound in Dune 1, it creates a whole atmosphere. It's so good.
I follow someone on TikTok that's a sound person because we do audio here, so I kind of have to know about some stuff, but usually it's more like entertainment value. And she had said something like, for everyone that's nominated this year, somebody's like wiping the sweat off their brow because Dune getting pushed from being released in November to now in March meant that it wasn't available to be nominated for the award. So it opened up the door for the actual, nominees this year. So interesting, because I feel like it'll probably, whatever Dune is going to be, we haven't seen it yet, but I'll bet you the sound's going to be great.
Look, I think Denis does a fantastic job. I've tried to see all of his movies. I haven't yet seen all of them. There's 1 or 2 early ones I still haven't seen. However, Arrival is definitely my favorite. Sorry, it's my favorite. And look, I mean, you got a lot of other great people, Jeremy Renner, Forrest Whitaker, Michael Stuhlbarg. I mean, it's just great. Who doesn't want aliens, time slipping, and, children issues? What a perfect combination.
The most interesting thing of Arrival to me is the building of language. That is such a phenomenal thing to think about. My daughter, who's very interested in linguistics, the idea that you could have a whole different approach to language, and that they came up with that to make this movie. How's a different way of building a language separate from the time thing?
But it goes all the way back to my Shogun.
Uh-oh. Mm-hmm.
If you land somewhere and you don't have the language, how are you going to communicate?
Splat!
That's your plan, Joe? Yeah, no, the humans will totally understand it.
Oh my God.
I mean, exactly. So, yeah, but it's that point of if you start to communicate when there's no common ground. How do you do that? It's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the problems, right? Because they landed in multiple places, and they did try different language approaches, and one of them, perhaps worked less well because it was a game, so it was either winning or losing.
Thank God for Amy Adams. She was really in there.
Thank goodness.
An emotional scientist, basically. Empathy.
Do we feel like in that movie they're doing that to Amy Adams, or she's done that to herself? Because if they're doing it, then why don't we have 5 other Amy Adams time travel people out of all the other ships that landed?
What?
Oh my! We can't get into that.
I'm just
Oh
saying,
my God!
if the aliens that landed are we got to figure out how to talk to someone.
No, stop it.
Exactly. And it's oh yeah, if you do that, then one person will get a psychic communication. Yeah, and the other pilots on the other ships are I don't know, Dave's weird. He does that dance. None of us would want to do that thing. It's too hard. No one understands that they can now travel through time in their own timeline.
Well,
Amy
Eddie's
Adams
doing
did.
a spin out.
Yeah, he is doing a spin out. But I mean, isn't the point that Amy's character was the only one who understood the language enough to disconnect from time?
Right. She truly, and I mean, through her own efforts and through the, kind of meeting of cooperation with them, was able to accomplish that. And look, maybe in their, as they said, we're doing this now so you can help us later. You're not able to help us now. Maybe this was, as Benedict Cumberbatch might say, the one way where it would happen. And yes, they had to go through and just like, well, you guys got to work with these other people. It's not going to work out. Who cares? But you have to do it so that this other one way can work.
Well, and I think also The Arrival is on the list of like best twist endings. Not like twist ending, but like best twist in that like there's the big reveal. I won't say what it is if you've never seen it, but just understanding like, oh, everything I've seen up to this point now means something completely different when you understand what's really happening.
Yeah, look, sometimes people find that challenging, especially when there's like one set of scenes that are really on a different timeline or with a different, you need to be thinking of it a different way and you're not set up from the beginning, and so you don't realize that until later. That is challenging sometimes, but I think it works well enough.
I think it works amazing.
Yeah, well, I like it.
Yeah, apparently, with the rewatch. Do you have any idea how many times you've watched it?
No. Unfortunately, I think I only have 3 noted times, but that does not include, there was a period where I watched it on a DVD many times, so I think I'm 10 plus.
10 plus, okay, all right.
And not a real clarification or correction, but Catherine, you did say The Arrival, and this is Arrival.
Oh,
not
sorry.
Charlie Sheen's The Arrival, which has a sequel, The Arrival 2.
Okay.
Now, I'd like, Denny to get working on the sequel to Arrival, Departure, but whatever, get there, my man.
Arrival, Departure, The Arrival. Okay, anyway, I'm glad I was not talking about the wrong Arrival. That would have been hysterical. I'm like, oh yeah, and the Charlie Sheen movie.